Hi, Professor.
Hey Fang, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hi, Professor. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Linda?
Good, thank you.
I sent an email about your laptop. I'm still waiting to hear back what's
Hi,
going on.
Professor.
Hey Shakila, did you find the syllabus?
Yes, I find. Thank you so much.
Of course, yes. Want to make sure that's good. So we'll see,
Yeah.
Linda. I'm waiting to hear back, but there's two other students that I messaged them about, so I'm doing everything I can.
Thank you so much for your
I look in Canvas. I cannot see it, but I did not see the picture.
It's my picture? You didn't see my picture?
No, the picture is for syllabus quiz. Above is syllabus quiz, course syllabus. I did not look for this picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I cannot find everywhere syllabus quiz.
Well, I can show you. I'll show you in Hibanas. I'll show you in Canvas, sort of right now.
Yeah, right now I can find it. I read your message and then I go back in Canvas. I can find.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I know the thing. My pleasure. Yeah, I think that Canvas, some good things, some bad things. One thing that's hard is sometimes, like if you want to find one page or one picture or one file, it's in like 5 different places. So trying to know where to find it can be difficult. So no worries at all, Shakila. Just like you did, send me a text, let me know. Happy birthday to somebody, Mariana. What's going on? Whose birthday? Is it your birthday?
No. Birthday of my son was a couple weeks ago, and in couple weeks is my birthday, so I
Keep it up. Keep it up. I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Cool. We got lots of people coming in, so I'm just saying hi to everybody. I know some people putting them on mute, putting the video off. That is all good, you guys. All good. I know it's lunchtime. I was eating a bunch of crackers. I have class before this, so in the little time that I get, I'm like trying to eat before I see you guys. So I get it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves.
Excuse me, Professor, I didn't find the Zoom link. Last week you record for us.
Oh yeah, I can show you. So maybe we can do this while, so I want to start when we get started by, I'm checking the chat. Oh my gosh, no, Fedusa says, sorry, I'm eating. Don't apologize, eat, you gotta eat. If you don't eat, your brain doesn't work. So yeah, I can show you guys. I'm gonna start to share my screen. Here's my announcement. So whether you're on your computer or on your phone, it doesn't matter, but there's this home, right? So if you're on your phone, you have to click home. If you're on the laptop, when you click, so you should see your courses, right? You can choose.
Yes.
If you click our intermediate high grammar class, this should be the first page you see. This picture of me smiling outside, right? On the home page at the very top, live support materials, click this link and everything, right? I already made this for today. There's the link to our YouTube video. If you click it here, you can play it on the page, or because it's on YouTube, you can open it in YouTube. And the reason I put this in YouTube, you guys, is so that if you need closed captions, this is me looking at myself now, very strange. But you can get closed. So you can see closed captions if you want to too. So that's why I do it in Canva or in YouTube. So you can click there to open it in YouTube. You can watch in here. And then our PowerPoint slides always here on this live materials page. So today I already put the date for today. And when the Zoom recording is done, I'll put it right there. And when we're done with our PowerPoint slides, I'll put them right there. So again, live support materials. You get there just by homepage and then right at the very top.
Hi, Professor.
Hey, Maboba.
Um, I have a question about my introduction letter.
Okay.
Yes, last night I submitted, but I'm not sure you received this for me because I had some problem with my computer, and
Okay.
finally I submitted, but I'm not sure about correct.
So I was saying this in my morning class today too. I'm going to start looking at things that people gave me within the next 1, 2, or 3 days for grades. I wanted to give you guys a week so that you feel like, you know, you're getting used to the class, you're learning where things live before you start to see grades. Because I know once students see grades, it's like, so I want you to be relaxed, still relax, it's fine. We're only in the beginning. So I will look, Makwaba, I'll look at your stuff in the next day or two. If there's a problem or if I don't see it, I'll send you a message in Canvas, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. This is kind of how I wanted to start too. So if people have, so I'll show you sort of what I have for our PowerPoint slide today. So we're going to start with a check-in and a Q&A. So this is kind of what we're doing right now. If anyone else has sort of like, not simple, but sort of questions about our website or about Canvas or anything about sort of the business of this class, are there any other questions about that kind of stuff? Because after we talk about Canvas, we get to do some grammar today.
Wow.
Yes. Other questions? Anybody else? Ideas, opinions?
No, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so I do want to show then one thing really quickly. I think this is kind of what Shakila was talking about a little bit as well. So I sent out that message where I said, okay, so the first lesson 4 and lesson 5, they were ready for you to start and do in Canvas. And I also said that I was reading the discussion posts. I replied to several of you. I really enjoyed that. So the discussion seems, I'll just ask, was there any problem there? It seems like it was going really, really well. Anyone have anything to say about the discussion?
No.
No.
It's good, right? I mean, like it seemed like it was really good, a way for you to share and talk to each other. So I was really happy with what I saw there. So, okay, so then the last thing I want to say about Canvas, sort of about the past, is you can find these in different places, but if you go to modules now, you can see lesson 4 and lesson 5 there. So you can find that in my announcements. You can see that in the modules. You can see them if you click quizzes. This is what I was trying to say to Shakila. They live, you know, you can find them in all these different places. So I just wanted to make sure you can see the different places you can find them. So they're here in modules, lesson 4 and 5. They're here in quizzes.
Can find for grades to module 4 and 5.
Say again, Shakila.
We can find module 4, lesson 4 and 5 in grades 2.
Good, perfect, exactly right. Shakila, just we'll keep saying all the different places you can find them. Yeah, in grades, you can find them lots of different places. That's right, that's right.
If I cannot find in module, I can go grades and I can find them.
Love it. I really do. I think, again, so like I was saying, good and bad, right? Pros and cons. Canvas, I think sometimes it's weird. It's difficult that things live in different places. But one good thing is once you find the way you like to do it, like if you're like, I go to grades, that's where I go, that works. You know, you can kind of make Canvas work for you in the way that you like, which I think that is one good thing about Canvas.
Excuse me, many times I checked syllables quiz. I think I didn't see it. I don't know why.
Maybe this is like I was trying to say to Sheila. It lives in many places. So if you could not see it, you can see it now. And you can go to, like I said, you can go to modules. You can go to quizzes.
Okay.
You can go to grades.
Okay.
You can go to the announcement where I gave the link to them. So, and remember, no due dates. So you're not behind. Don't worry. You can do them whenever you can and you have time. So. And if you really need help, like Shakila, I don't want to make Shakila, keep using Shakila as example, but she texted me a couple of days ago or yesterday saying, what's going on? Where is this thing? That's great. You can send me that text to say, Jeff, where is this in Canvas? And I will help you. Okay. So don't be afraid to do that. I mean, I see your hand. What's up?
One of my classmates told me there's something we should do, dreams and vision. I cannot find that one.
That's
Yeah.
another class. Hold on.
The only thing I can see these, but I don't know dreams and vision. Where is
That's
that?
from a different class. That's from my W350 class. But I don't think now. Sometimes that happens where I will write the wrong. I'm thinking about another class, but I'm in this Canvas site for your page. But when I look at assignments, I don't see that. So if your friend or classmate can show me where it is, I will fix it. But I don't see it. And the last thing I'll say is, if you see something that says dreams and visions, that's not for this class.
Amina, don't mix it with us. Don't mix it for us.
No,
Don't make
I'm
hot.
not. Akila, are you here, Akila?
I don't think so.
Did I mess up?
That's okay. No, and I'm with you.
No, I'm sure I'm not, because I told her about the book and I sent the picture of the book, language of the
Language power.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right. Even they send me a picture of you. There's life support material. Go over there. Yeah.
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 Tell them it's Akila. If it's Akila, tell them show Jeff where the scary or confusing thing is, and I'll fix it. But it shouldn't be in there now. When I look at the when I see assignments and what I'm asking you to do, let me see. Discussions. Was it in discussions?
No.
No. Discussions, grammar, goals, quizzes.
Pages.
Five homework we should do. Nothing more.
Oh, we'll go there. I'll tell you what I want you to do next. Don't worry. No. Don't let her scare you. I mean, I don't see it. If you can find it, tell me later and I'll fix it, okay?
I didn't see also. One of my classmates sent me an email and I told them I cannot find anywhere.
So yeah, we'll tell Linda. We don't need to tell Amina. Tell Akila. Stop. Don't confuse us.
Yes, don't confuse
scare us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe for this class.
Okay, I'm almost.
I think it's my problem because I took 5 classes. I missed everything.
This will happen.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
This will happen. This will happen. Yeah, we're just, and like I said, I do it too. I told you guys last week, right? I just live in Canvas. So when you said that, I was like, oh my God, did I post the wrong assignment in the wrong class? And that was for another. Yeah. We're all doing our best. It's all good. It's all good.
I just have a question about lesson 5.
Great. Let's talk about
that. Yeah, I did the lesson 4 and I passed it, but the quiz lesson lesson 5 kind of confused me because it's I think questions and we should take a copy and paste from syllable, right?
That's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah.
But number 1, I couldn't understand. Should we because you ask us for 50 words, right?
About, yeah, just like usual, right? I'm sort of giving you a suggestion.
So it's a kind from our opinion we should say.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So quiz number 1, lesson number 4 is much more like right or wrong answer. That's why, that Canvas will grade it for you. You get your score right away. This activity is just more chance to practice your writing. And I'll tell you right now, as we go through this, what you'll start to see today, because we're going to start to talk about some of the ideas from the textbook. One of the ways that I will have you practice the new grammar skills that we go through is to go back, look at your own sentences and analyze them, right? And look at them. So that's one reason I'm having you write so much right now. It's not because I'm testing you, it's because I want you to write, if you have 2 or 3 pages of your own writing, then when we start to analyze and look at our own writing using the ideas in the textbook, I think it's much more interesting to look at our own writing instead of something from a grammar textbook. So that's kind of the idea behind this quiz, Linda.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor.
Of course.
Professor, I have a question about
Let's go.
quizzes.
Yeah, please.
Do we have to do, is it today?
Remember, no due dates. The only thing that
No,
will
did that, yeah.
no, yeah.
Doesn't have due date.
Okay.
The only thing
Anytime.
the only thing that'll have a due date is the major assignments, the grammar writing assignments. But these lessons, Feruza, the lessons will never have a due date. So like I said last week, no one's behind, no one's ahead. My suggestion though is just, you know, if it's, I'm imagining like in week 4, you know, if you only did lesson 1, you might be a little behind. So you kind of keep track of where you're at, but you're never late. You're not going to lose points. It's not like that.
Okay.
Yep. Any other Canvas stuff before we talk about grammar? This is important.
We are good.
Oh yeah, let's do grammar, everybody.
Oh, scary.
Don't be scared. It's fun. It's fun. Okay, so the only thing I'll say about Canvas, and then I'll switch to grammar, is remember, so in Unit 1, so remember you have to complete Unit 1 before you move on to Unit 2. So the things we talk about today are going to be what you will practice and review and read about in Unit 2, okay? So Unit 1 is just the name coach, the welcome letter, the discussion, and then the 2 quizzes, but again, those quizzes are not supposed to be like a test to make you get a 0, right? It's just a chance to make sure you understand the most important information on the syllabus. So that's what lesson 4 and 5 are. So make sure you've completed lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And when you finish those, then you'll be ready to, you know, the website, Canvas, will let you start Unit 2, which is where we're going to start to talk about parts of speech. And that's what we are doing today.
Excuse me, Professor, sorry.
Yeah, Laluma.
I come late, sorry. I have a question about the name catch. So I did that assignment, so I'm not sure I did it correctly or not, because it didn't show anything on my page, on my grade.
Yeah, I think I forget who asked someone else already. I forget. But I was saying I will start to grade things in the next 2 or 3 days. So don't worry if you don't see a score yet. That's because I haven't been grading yet. I wanted to give you guys a week. So give me 2 or 3 days. And then if there's a problem, I'll just send you a message. I'll let you know. If there's not, I'll just give you the points.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Okay, let's go. So parts of speech is where we are going to start. Now, you don't need to look at language power. You don't need to look at our textbook right now, but I will tell you, language power, we're going to start at the beginning, right? We're going to start with tutorial 1 or chapter 1 in language power. So it looks like this, right? And this is where we are going to start. So this is page 3 in your textbook. When we start to go through the things that I talk about today, if you're still lost or confused, or you want more information, or you think, oh my God, Jeff is going too fast, remember all of this stuff is in your textbook. And when lesson number 6 and 7 and 8 start, you're going to get to review and practice these things. Okay. So we're talking about parts of speech. We kind of did this already. So what I want you to
19 introduction for students error type code brief.
All good. I'm going to mute you. So I want you to look at this. Here's the way we're going to start this. Let me copy this and then delete it. Okay. So when I say parts of speech, what am I talking about? What are parts of speech in English?
Like you talk about location or
Is it about noun or adjective or verb, adverb?
That is it. So Feruza said nouns, adjectives. What'd you say? Adverbs?
Verbs.
Yep,
Verbs.
adverbs, verbs.
Good. Any other ones you can think of or come to mind?
Conjunction, preposition.
Conjunction, preposition. I love it. Thank you, Trina. Don't worry, I'll show you all of them in like 2 slides, okay? Great. That's what we're talking about, parts of speech. Now, you might be saying, Jeff, why are we talking about parts of speech? This is G310. I already know what a noun is. Yes, I know you do know what a noun is. But remember, the way we are going to teach this, well, the way I'm going to teach this class and we are going to go through it together is really focusing on grammar for writing, because that's the purpose of this type of grammar stuff at college level, right? So when you're writing your sentences, it is going to help you a lot to think about parts of speech in a new and different way. Now, we already talked about this a little bit last week when everybody said, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with gerund or infinitive? This is hard, not because you don't know how to make ing. You already all know how to do that. What you don't know is, when do I need a noun? Because that'll be the gerund. And when do I need something to act like a verb? Because that will be when I use the infinitive, right? So just in that one example, see, that's kind of about verbs, right? That's kind of about verb tense a little bit, but even more, it's really about what's the right part of speech for the sentence that I'm trying to say or to write. And that's why we're starting with parts of speech, not just tell me what part of speech, but we're going to see how they go together. So just for example, look at the word below, or you know, on the screen in front of you. Am I sharing my screen? Yes. Okay, good.
Yes.
So, what part of speech is this word? How do you know? The word is Sacramento. What part of speech?
Noun.
It's a noun.
I think it's
noun.
Okay. I heard everybody say
No.
Noun.
this is a noun.
Yes.
Now the question is it always a noun?
No. Yes.
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 Maybe it's
Yeah, it's always a noun.
Great. Let's find out.
can be adjective too.
How about this one? How about these two? Now, so here's the main idea. What I want to stress, what I want to make very clear, if this is a new idea, forgive me, take a week, take 2 weeks to figure it out, that's fine. Grammar has to be in context. Parts of speech have to be in context. You cannot look just at a word by itself and say, yes, I know what part of speech, at least not in English, because in English, you can have same word, same spelling, same pronunciation, totally different part of speech in a different sentence. So let's look at this first example sentence. Sacramento is a very nice city. What part of speech?
Sacramento is a subject.
Yes, it is the subject. And all subjects are what part of speech?
A noun.
Noun.
Correct. All subjects are nouns or pronouns, right? He
Yeah.
or she. We could have he or
Pronoun.
she or right.
Yeah,
That's
noun
fine.
or pronoun.
So Sacramento is a very nice city. Now, how about this second sentence? I want to visit the Sacramento History Museum. What part of speech is what part of speech is Sacramento here?
Noun.
Adjective.
It's a noun.
It's an
Phrase.
adjective.
Noun phrase.
No, it's
Oh,
an adjective.
Okay.
No.
I saw you.
Oh.
I saw Sita saying adjective, adjective. I see. Yes. Now, this is the. Now let's go. Let's look at this sentence. A lot of what we're going to do today is where I'm going to like show you something, and if you get nervous, that's fine. Okay, we have a lot more lessons to figure this out. Let's do this. What is the subject of this sentence?
I.
Sacramento. I.
I agree. Hold on. Let me change. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing, you guys. Great. Okay. Yes, I is the subject, right? And let me make sure this is smaller. Okay. I is a noun. It's the subject, right? What part of speech is want?
Verb.
Verb.
Mm-hmm. Let's not even worry about this to visit. We're going to talk about that later. It's scary. Don't worry about it. What part of speech is this word?
Maybe.
Article.
Yeah.
Article.
The is an article, right? Now, we've got Sacramento History Museum.
It
Now,
should be noun phrase, professor,
Noun.
not adjective.
we're going to talk. I disagree, Feduza. So we know that we have an article here, right? So we know that after an article, we have to have a noun somewhere, right? So after the article, we must have a noun. Where's the, you could see this called different things in different classes, but you could say the head or like the boss, the main noun in this noun phrase, like Feduza was talking about. If you don't know what a noun phrase is, do not worry. We are going to be there very soon. What's the main noun in this noun phrase? Yes.
Museum.
So what are these two things? Sacramento and history. What are they doing? What's their purpose? What's
Describing the museum.
I agree completely. And because they are describing the museum, they are an adjective. in this sentence? Perusa.
Noun.
I cannot believe, because on my last semester we learned about adjectives and noun phrases. I know they are confusing all the time, but this should be noun phrase, and I can't believe.
Well, okay, but even if you say that this, I don't know who your teacher was, so I won't say if, I don't know if I disagree or agree or disagree, but okay, this, the Sacramento History Museum would be the noun phrase, right?
It's a whole name. Yeah.
Oh, you'd say all three of these words together are one noun phrase?
Yes.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'd put the article in the noun phrase. But even if you call this whole thing the noun phrase, Feruza, did your teacher last semester say, so because this is all one noun phrase, it's all a noun? Or did they say each individual word will have a part of speech, right?
Yes.
And your teacher called them all nouns? If they did, I disagree. If they did, I disagree. Because remember, because what does an adjective do? You guys already know this, right?
Describe the noun.
That's right, right. Describes, or, you know, when we start to read Language Power, I made two videos for you guys to watch this week when you're looking at Language Power. The author of the book, she's a professor at UC Davis who I got to work with. Her name is Professor Dana Ferris. So when you hear me say Professor Ferris or Dana or whatever, she's the author of the book. So what Professor Ferris, what the author of the book that we're using, I think is exactly correct about is the best way to think, the easiest way, especially for language learners to think about English grammar is, what is this word doing in the sentence? Instead of trying to memorize every single grammar rule and every single word order for every single sentence, which is almost impossible, when you start to think like, okay, what's this word doing? Like, why am I using it? If you're not sure, for example, you don't need to do this for every word, right? When you guys are writing at 310, you don't need to think, I as a subject, want is a verb. No, you don't need to do that. But if you're looking at your own writing and thinking, okay, is there a grammar error? Do I need to fix anything? Asking yourself, what is the purpose, right? What is this word doing in the sentence? It will really, really help you start to see how these things come together, right? So even if your teacher last semester said, you know, it's all a noun phrase, I agree. But I think any word in English that modifies a noun, changes a noun, gives us more information about a noun, in that sentence, it is acting like an adjective, right? So Sacramento History Museum. What kind of museum? The History Museum. And what kind of history? Sacramento history. So, you know, you could call this whole thing an adjective phrase that modifies this noun. And then because it starts with a, you know, we could go, you could analyze it a lot. But for now, all I want to make sure is that this example shows you purpose. What is the word doing in the sentence? And starting to think about that when we start to analyze parts of speech. Does that make sense, Firuza?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's a really important question as well. Okay. Any other questions or ideas or anything about this idea?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so here is something, oh, we're not going to do this yet. We're going to go here first. Oop, let me move this up. Okay, so when you read tutorial 1, right, when we start to go through tutorial 1, and maybe we will even have time to start looking at some of this together in the class right now, Professor Ferris, the author of the textbook, is going to talk about English language parts of speech in 2 big categories, 2 big types of words, okay? There are content words and there are function words. Now, we already, when I asked for different examples of parts of speech, most of you guys gave me content words, right? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. And then there are function words. And eventually, hold on one second. I'm just going to mute people. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to find and mute people, you guys. Sorry about that. Okay. So then we have function words. Function words are usually the words that we think about for English grammar. It looks like Shaquila's where the voice is coming from. So go ahead. Hold on one second.
Excuse me.
I'm going to mute everybody. I'm sorry. I'm going to mute everybody. If you want to talk, you can unmute yourself, but there was a voice I could hear and I'm tired and I can't tune it out. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so content words. These are the two big categories: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay, then we have function words. These are pronouns, articles, and determiners. These are going to go together. Auxiliaries, I'll tell you right now, auxiliaries include modals, prepositions, and conjunctions. Okay, now the most important thing to understand about this idea, the difference between content words and function words: content words have meaning by themselves, right? In the textbook, Professor Farah says if you go to the dictionary and you look up the word cat, right, you'll get, it won't just say a noun, right? It'll say an animal, it'll give you some information about what the animal looks like. But if you go to the dictionary and you look up the preposition in, for example, there's no, it'll just say a preposition used in English, right? It doesn't have a meaning. It doesn't have meaning by itself. So the content words are the words that give a sentence meaning, and the function words are the words that are my image here is like the glue that keep a sentence together, right? So these are things like, again, pronouns, articles, auxiliaries, prepositions, and conjunctions. Do these two big, broad categories make sense? Content and function words. Okay.
Professor, can you give example for auxiliaries? What is it?
Great. Yeah. What's an auxiliary? Well, we'll do it. We'll look at this together in a minute. But auxiliaries. Let me make a slide here.
Like a should and would.
Yes. Well, exactly, because should and would are modals, right?
Yeah.
So any modal is an auxiliary.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
You know, again, people were saying different classes, different teachers, different textbooks, grammar textbooks from England and grammar textbooks from the US, they do this differently. So the words we use to describe these things can change, but an auxiliary could also be called.
This one.
I have a question.
Yeah, hold on. Give me 1 second and then I'll be right there.
Helping verbs.
Yep.
Modal verbs, yeah. So do, does also auxiliary, yeah?
Yes, that's exactly where I was going with this, yeah. And I'm sorry, I couldn't see who was asking and said they had a question. Who was it?
I have a question. Like this one is comes with the books of page 3, you said?
I'll say it one more time.
I don't have a book right now. You said this one is my books, page number 3?
Yes, it will be, right? It will be. And actually, when I'll tell you right now, when for this week, right, for this lesson on parts of speech, I have this in the video that I posted in Canvas. So if you don't have your book yet, you will still be able to see the textbook when I made the video.
Okay, where I find this one?
I will show
for Canvas.
I will show you at the end of class.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So you may have seen these auxiliary verbs called the helping verb, a modal verb, an auxiliary verb. For us this semester, all of these are just called
auxiliary.
Okay, because think of auxiliary as like an umbrella, right? And underneath that umbrella, we have all these other little categories. So an example would be, what? I'm going to make a positive sentence. Oh, no. Something, I don't know. So where's the auxiliary in this sentence? I do not want to live in Los Angeles. Where's the auxiliary?
Do.
Do.
Yep.
Do.
And where's the auxiliary?
Should.
How about this one?
S. Once, actually.
No,
I think once.
No auxiliary.
We'll do this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll worry about this later. This is very difficult. This is again why gerunds and infinitives are tricky. Okay. So what's going on there? It looks like, wait, is that a verb? Is that two verbs? What's going on? We will go there. Okay. We will go there. How about
Can.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's all. When we say auxiliaries, you guys, that's what we're talking about. And when you read Unit 1, Tutorial 1, that's what this is. That's what these auxiliaries are about. Okay.
These are easy, Professor. We need to work with tricky one. You know, like kind of you showed us, like S, yes.
Excuse me. It's
I
not,
think maybe test one is same one.
You have to start for the easy one to learn hard one. I think.
Laluma's like, let's start easy. It's only week 2. It's don't worry. I'll scare you. Don't worry. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think, honestly, for a lot of you guys at 310, I don't think that identifying parts of speech is going to be hard for you. I think what's going to be difficult for the first week or 2 or 3 is Professor Ferris asks us to think about grammar in a little bit of a different way, because she is not just asking you to fill in the blank. It's a little bit different. So at first it feels strange, but I promise once you get going, it's so much easier, because you don't need to feel like every word has to be in the perfect place. You kind of learn to trust what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I'm not too worried about you guys being able to identify, is it an auxiliary or not an auxiliary? Or, I mean, everybody in this 310 knows what, coulda, shoulda, woulda, and should, all that stuff. So, but this idea about content and function words is important. So I do want to give us another example of sentences to practice and talk about. So let me actually, we're gonna go through these one at a time here. Okay, so let's look at this sentence, and remember, think about this. Oops. Think about parts of speech, right? Content words have meaning, give meaning to the sentence. Function words are just grammar words. They keep the sentence together. They are the glue of the sentence. So let's start really big and broad, okay? So in this simple, shorty little sentence, parts of speech, Sacramento can be very hot in the summer. Let's just do content word or function word for each of these words together. So Sacramento, is this a content word or a function word?
Content. I think it's content.
Definitely. How about can?
Function word. Function.
Love it. And be?
Function.
Function.
Content. No.
Again, verb. No, it's a content word.
Content. And it's content.
Why? Why is it a content word?
Because
it's
a verb.
Oh, who said that? Did Lailuma say that? I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
maybe everybody said it. It's a verb, right? That's the short answer. I was going to say, where's the verb in this sentence? Well, this is the verb. That's right. I agree.
No.
You're watching the best show on television. Yes, be is a content word because be is our verb, right? So remember, as we start to think about these things, verbs are content words. There's really only one verb in this sentence. Here we've got an auxiliary, a function like you identified. So be is our verb, be is a content word. How about very?
Content.
Function.
What part of speech is this?
It's adjective.
It's
adverb.
It should be adverb.
Oh, good. Okay, I heard some people say adjective, some people say adverb. Okay, but I'll say right now, it is one of those two.
It has a two meaning. Sometimes
what do you mean?
It can be adjective, it can be adverb.
But here is adverb.
Who was your teacher last semester, Firuza?
Oranit Limane presents.
Oh yeah, Oranit. Okay, she's very serious. I don't want to disagree with her. She's a very serious teacher. I don't want to get I do not want Ornate to get. I do not want Ornate to get mad at me. Okay. I think, but I might disagree with Ornate. I think it's always an adverb, so I think it's content. How about hot? What part of what?
Adjective.
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 Content. And how about this?
A function.
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 And this one?
Preposition.
Function.
Function.
Articles.
Function.
Content.
Content.
Great. Love
Formal
it.
noun.
Great. Great. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, let's do a longer sentence, just practicing this content and function, and then we're going to start to look at specific examples in specific parts of speech. Okay, so here's a longer sentence. My sister loves reading history books in Italian, comma, but sometimes she feels bored while she reads. So
Oh my gosh.
Oh, by the end of this class, we're going to identify every part of speech in this sentence. Don't worry.
Mine is a function because it's a pronoun.
Any other ideas?
Content, I think. No.
My sister is a subject.
Content.
Ooh, what's the, okay, let's I love this. So already, I'm sure you guys already know this. Okay, so I'll just write this box so that for people who aren't sure, remember, English, we already know we're in grammar 310, but just to make sure we go through this, subject, verb, object, right? That's how English goes. You have to follow a strict word order here for English sentences. So subject, verb, object. Where's the subject of this sentence? Give me one
Sister. My sister.
Good. Sister is the subject. And where's our verb?
Lost.
Loves is the verb.
Good. And do we have an object?
History books.
History books.
History.
History books.
History
Reading.
books, actually.
I was going to say, Feruza, where are you now? Yeah, I think when we start to talk about noun phrases, I think this whole thing is the noun phrase, and I think this is the object, right? This is the thing she loves, this whole thing together. Now, if this is your first class where you're learning this idea and you're going, oh my God, Jeff, you are scaring me. How is 5 words together acting like an object? That's why we're going to talk about phrases, right? Because that, I totally agree, like Feruza was saying. In English, this whole thing is acting like one big noun, right? My sister loves something. She loves something. And what's that thing? Reading history books in Italian. So this whole thing, this noun phrase, acts like the object, okay? So how about what's going on here? But, and then do we have another subject and verb combination?
Yes. She,
Yes.
another subject. Feels, it's another word.
Good.
Bored.
Word while she reads its object.
Good, good. Now we're going to talk about this in a second here. Okay, so we've got our subject, my sister loves, and she feels. Now, so now that we know sister is our subject, sister is the noun, we can start to think about individual parts of speech. And someone was saying, okay, is this a pronoun? What is this thing? What part of speech is my?
Pronoun.
Pronoun.
We know he, she, it's a pronoun, but my, it's a possessive pronoun, I think. My, your, her, his.
You're very close, but I'll just show you. Is there a difference between this? I'm so happy we're doing this because it's going to help you guys really. I think you'll be able to understand tutorial 1 really nicely.
You're confusing us.
Well, I'm getting you ready before you read chapter 1, because chapter 1 is going to teach you all of this stuff. I'd rather you get confused now so that chapter 1 makes sense when you go to read it. Híjole madre. So just for example.
Okay.
Is there a difference between this and this? Yeah, what's going on? Someone tell me.
The mine is object pronoun, but the my is subject pronoun.
That book is mine.
Trina says mine is the pronoun, object pronoun. I completely agree. I completely agree that mine is the object pronoun. And I also completely agree that this is a pronoun because this is a thing, right? Mine is standing in for a noun. Is that true with this? Because we already have the noun. The noun is book. So what's this word really doing? Is it a noun by itself, or is it giving me more information about this noun?
It's adjective pronoun.
Information about book, yeah.
And this, you guys, is what Professor Ferris, instead of calling this an adjective, we don't need to call this an adjective. She's not that crazy. She's saying this is something that's called a determiner or a possessive determiner. And that there are things like this in English. And the closest thing to a determiner, and determiner is a verb. Let me show you the definition here. So determiner, the word determiner is a noun, but it comes from this verb in English, to determine. And the definition for determine means to officially decide. And when you think about that meaning for determine, it makes sense to call this a determiner, because it decides, it tells the reader whose book, right? Whose book is it? My book.
My book.
Whose book is it? Her book. Whose book is it? Our book. It determines who it belongs to, right? Who owns it. So things like my, your, their, ours, we're going to call these determiners when you start to read through tutorial 1. And we are going to say that those are different than pronouns, right? And I think Trina was the one who put it perfectly. That book is mine. In this case, mine is an object pronoun, and it's very clearly functioning like a noun. Here we already have the noun.
But before,
yeah, go ahead.
Why did they teach us like my, yours, their, his, her? It's a possessive pronouns. When we learn at school, when we learn at our backside, we learn this. They are like possessive pronouns.
Yeah, again, I think the why is it's when it comes to grammar, people have such strong opinions about this. But I don't even think the opinion matters. I think it's sometimes just a difference of how do you talk about it, like what vocabulary word do you use. My example for this, Feruza, is always think about present continuous versus present progressive. It's the same thing, right? Like present progressive, present continuous. Some books are like, it's continuous. Continuous is the right word to, I mean, it's kind of just about like what you call the thing to a certain extent too, right? Different textbooks, different countries, different teachers, they sometimes like to use different words to describe the same idea. So that's one thing that makes teaching grammar, especially in the United States, really difficult, because most people like British grammar books, and British grammar books use different language, different terms,
yes,
words to talk about these same rules, right? Linda, you agree?
Yes, yes, I agree, absolutely.
Yeah, and especially for my students from, well, I think everybody, if we have students from Russia, Ukraine, and all over the Middle East, British English, I mean, the history of colonial England in the Middle East is British English, right? I mean, American English is really kind of popular now because of the United States and movies and TV, right? The history of teaching English, especially grammar, comes from England because of history, right? Because of them going into other countries.
Yes, they are very different.
Yes, right. They can be very different. So that's not a perfect or great answer, Feruza, but it is one of the reasons why different words, different terms, different language to describe the same idea. Even if the term doesn't make sense though, or even if a person doesn't like the word determiner or possessive pronoun, it kind of doesn't matter, because the most important thing for me, Feruza, is that you guys understand the difference about the function, about what's happening in the sentence with mine, which is clearly functioning like an object pronoun, and my, which has nothing to do with a noun, right? My is not a noun. Do you agree with that at least? And I think that's the most important thing. So whatever we call my is fine, but I do want you to understand it acts differently in the sentence. And because it acts differently in the sentence, it can only live in specific places in the sentence too. And that's kind of, again, why I'm starting here this semester. So let's look at this together. I was just going to say, so whatever you call it, possessive pronoun, a determiner, possessive determiner, whatever, The good news is if we're thinking about this activity like we're doing right now, a sort of warm up to content words and function words, both pronouns and determiners are function words, right? They don't have meaning by themselves. They are the grammar, the glue that holds the sentence together. So if you look at my sister loves reading history books in Italian, let's, again, just for practice, do content and function words. So my, content or function?
Function.
Definitely. Oh, let me change the font so that you guys, or the color so that you guys can see better. How about red is a scary color for students. How about
yellow?
Yeah, how about dark yellow? Okay, so function, great. How about sister?
Content.
Content.
Definitely. It's the noun, it's the subject of the sentence. And loves, we said this is the verb, so good. Verbs are content. Now what's this?
Gerund, reading.
Good. So if it's a gerund, what part of speech is a gerund?
Noun.
Yep. So if it's a noun,
Content.
good. What about this?
Function. Noun.
Speaks to content.
Oh, good. I heard someone say it's a noun. I heard someone say it's an adjective. We're going to look at more examples about this before we finish class today. History is either a noun or an adjective. We're not sure maybe, but it's definitely content. How about books?
Content.
Content.
Good. And in?
Function.
Good. And how about here?
Content.
Just noun too.
Good. How about here?
Function.
Good. And if you weren't sure, remember, we're going to start to look at the example. We're going to do these same sentences, but the difference here is, oops, conjunctions, function words. Conjunctions, function words. So but is a conjunction, so it's a function word. Let me get my yellow writing back. And how about sometimes?
Content.
Function.
Yes, it's a frequency of adverb frequency or frequency of adverbs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Adverb of
They are content.
function.
I think it's fun. I think it's both.
Oh, I think it's both. That's a really good
Yes.
answer. It's only one, but I love that idea. That's great. When in doubt, maybe it's both.
It's a verb of time.
But professor, it has a meaning sometimes.
Perusa, I promise we'll get there, but I want to just see. I want to let people suffer a little bit. We gotta figure it out, you know. We're gonna look at this sentence in more detail. So of course, what is this? A function or a content word? It depends on the part of speech that it is in the sentence. And I promise I will tell you what that is soon. How about she, content or function?
Function.
Content.
No, function.
Good. I hope whoever said function, she is that we said this is a subject. This is a noun. This is gotta be a content word.
Content.
And
feels
yes,
too.
Feels is a verb. And how about bored?
It's an adjective.
So if it's an adjective, is it content?
That's me, content.
Good.
Content.
And how about this?
While it's
Function.
Function.
Maybe function.
Both.
Okay, how about this one?
Content.
Good.
And reads is like content too.
Hold on, how can we pronounce content? Professor, you told already pronouns or function.
Yep, I know, that's what I was saying. That's what I was going back here to show the people, right? So what's going on with this sentence with she, right? So she is content or function?
Function. The first she also function. Why are you choosing content?
You sound so angry, I love it. Great, and how about this one?
Content.
Reads its content.
Function.
Yes, Feruza, explain it again now that, can you guys still hear me? It says my internet is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Good.
Yes, I can.
Good. So Feruza, explain. Let's go back and make sure that Feruza can explain, since she is exactly correct. So everybody, when we started with this, we saw, okay, she is the subject of this clause, right? Or of this independent clause. But she is a pronoun. And if we look at what we're going to study in the first chapter, pronouns are function or content.
Function.
Yes.
Function.
Right.
You said pronouns is functions?
Yes. Yes.
How about sometimes and while?
We're going to do those next. We're going to do those next. Because, okay, so I'll show you. So let me ask this before Feruza is going to be like my teacher's assistant. I'm so happy. Feruza was like dying while waiting for me to go back and fix that for you guys. But again, it's because, but do you understand also, Feruza, why? I want to make sure everybody understands. It makes perfect sense that you see she, you think noun, you think subject, you think content. That makes perfect sense, right? But the way we're thinking about this now is meaning, 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 and versus function, function, function. Okay, so that's why we're starting kind of at this big level. So my question for you guys before we start to look at some specific examples here is, what do you think will be harder to find or harder to identify? Content or function words?
I think it's
function for me.
Functions.
Linda says function. Nishan says function.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I think because there are more examples of function words in English, it is harder to know, how many is normal to see in a sentence? How many should I have? Where am I giving the meaning to my sentences? Do I have enough content words? Sometimes that can feel very difficult. The other reason that it can feel very difficult, now this goes back to Feruza saying, okay, Jeff, let's talk about parts of speech. I'm going to delete this. Duplicate. So let's do this. We're going to do parts of speech now, and we'll see what we can do. As I need to clarify some of these to get you ready for the chapter, we can do that. But instead of function and content, let's just talk about parts of speech. So Sacramento, what part of speech?
Noun.
Noun.
For sure, right? It's a person, place, or thing. It's the subject of the sentence. It has meaning by itself. This is a noun. How about this?
Verb. Modal verb.
Modal verb.
Still verb.
Auxiliary.
Helping verb.
Thank you. Helping verb. Remember, for this class, if we're going to call it a helping,
Auxiliary.
a modal verb. Yes.
Modal verb.
Right. For part, thank you very much. Exactly correct. So we're going to call this is an auxiliary, right? This is not the main verb, but it gives us very important information. It helps connect the grammar of the sentence to make sure that the verb does make sense. So what's our verb here?
Be.
Now, what's going on here?
Adverb.
Adjective. Adverb.
Adverb.
Feruza, don't worry, I'm coming back. I will answer this in 1 second. I heard adjective and adverb. Okay, what about hot?
Hot is adjective.
Adjective.
Okay, everybody agrees that hot is an adjective. How about
adverb?
In its preposition.
Describes adjective.
And here?
Article.
Article.
Good. And remember, article, determiner, this means the same thing in the textbook that we're going to use here. And in fact, when you watch me sort of explain the first chapter, what Professor Ferris, what the author of the textbook says, is that all articles are determiners, right? So the big category is determiner. You don't need to forget the word article. It's very important, okay? So articles are determiners. That's all you need to think about for right now. All articles are determiners.
Determiner is also article?
No, not exactly. Because it's the same way that a modal is an auxiliary, right? But can isn't a modal, right? Can is an example of an auxiliary, but not all auxiliaries are modals. It's that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And again, when we start to see these in phrases, I keep thinking of like Feruza talking about noun phrases. When you start to see these in phrases, what you will start to see if you've been studying English for 2 or 3 or 4 semesters is you'll start to see how an article and other determiners act the same in the sentence. That's why they go together. So even though they do different things, right? An article comes before a noun. An article is definite or indefinite. It tells you about if you're talking about a specific noun or a non-specific noun, right? So even though that's what an article does, within the glue of a sentence, it acts like a lot of these other determiners. Like, this is where I just think Dana, the author of our textbook, is correct. The word my, like my sister, my is much more like an article than it is like a pronoun. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. It acts much more like an article. It comes before a noun. It gives us additional information about the noun. It's not the noun by itself, right? That's if that scared you, Feruza, you get to read about it in chapter 1. Okay, and how about the last word here, in the summer?
Noun.
Noun. Love it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now this one will be a little more interesting, and after we do this one together, I'll start to introduce some of the rules, right? So if you're watching this and you're not talking, or you're like, oh my God, what is happening? I don't know. How do they know the parts of speech? We're going to talk about the rules, right? How to understand what these parts of speech are. But let's do this together. So my sister, again, let me change my font here.
It's a determiner.
Yes.
Determiner.
I'm going to call my a determiner. Don't tell Orani.
Sister is noun.
Good. Let me, great. My sister.
Noun.
Yep.
Verb.
Verb. Great.
Gerund.
Gerund, yeah.
Noun.
It's a
Sister
gerund.
is noun.
But gerund, it's a noun.
We'll talk about this in a second. Well, we're not going to talk about this today, to be honest with you, because we'll probably talk about this for 2 weeks, because this, I think, is one of the most difficult things about English grammar, even in a short sentence like this. What is going on? Loves reading, loves to read. What is going on? What part of speech are those words that come after the verb, right? Because again, reading, or imagine that I said this.
It's infinitive.
Yeah.
But again, like, what is that? This is the verb, right? This is the verb. But what we know, Feruza is exactly correct. All of this together is like a noun phrase, right? All these words together act like the thing my sister loves. But just that word, those 2 words, to read or reading, what is going on? People fight about this, Feruza. When I was studying in the linguistics program, people have very strong opinions about this. So we don't have time for me to do this today, but we'll go there this semester. Okay, don't.
After last can be and infinitive and gerund.
Say
who describes next noun history.
Yes, the noun. Well, we'll talk about what the next noun is. So yes, we're saying, is this a gerund? Is this a noun NP, a noun phrase? Is this a verb? What's going on? We'll come back to this later. How about this?
Adjective.
It's noun.
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 No.
In this case, it's adjective.
Let's go back to my first example from today, right? Sacramento History Museum, adjective that modifies history, that modifies museum. So here, Sacramento was an adjective, just like in this example, history, which can be a noun, but in this sentence,
Adjective.
yes, because it's modifying the noun,
Books.
right? Now, what part of speech here?
Preposition.
And how about this?
Noun.
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 Oh, I'm very happy everybody said this.
Yeah, because after proposition will be noun.
That's it. I was just going to ask, how do we know this is a noun? And again, Banas is doing exactly what you're going to get to review in these first couple videos that I'm going to post in Canvas today. It's not just, can you identify? Can you tell me the part of speech? It's to say, how do you know? And Banas, you said it perfectly. How do I know? It came after a preposition. If you see a preposition in English, you need a noun because nouns show up as the object of a preposition, right? And when you watch the video that I made for you guys this week, we do this all the time, right? At the beach, in the car, under the chair. I mean, after a preposition, you get a noun phrase. In a grammatically correct sentence, you've got to have a noun phrase, which means Italian, which sometimes can be an adjective. In this case, it's got to be a noun, right? Because it's coming after the preposition. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And but, we already talked about, but is a conjunction.
Conjunction.
Right?
Like fun boys.
Good. It is a fanboys, absolutely.
Yeah. One of the fun boys, yeah.
One of the beloved fanboys. Now, let's go back to this question. Firuza, wait before you answer because I know you already know. What part of speech is sometimes? If you don't know, ask yourself, what is the function? What is it doing? Now, I don't know if it's a function word or a content word. We're going to find that out in a second. But what is it doing in this sentence?
Combine two sentences.
Barbara says comparing. I don't think it's comparing.
Can I say?
Not yet. You can in a second, but not yet.
Is that the of time?
Yes, Trina is saying it's talking about time, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Now,
adverb.
Linda,
Time.
now here we're going. I'm gonna ask a sort of question to inspire your thinking. Is this word modifying, changing, affecting another word in this clause? Don't tell us the part of speech yet, Firuza, but you are saying, yes, it is modifying another word in the clause, right?
Mm-hmm.
What word is it modifying?
Verb.
Yes.
Word.
It's giving us more information about feels, right? Because what is it telling us about feels? Who, what, when, where, why, how?
When she feels.
Yes.
She.
Yes. I think I heard Linda and Trina. Trina was talking about time. I think I heard Linda sort of saying, okay, I think it's modifying. Yes, and Firuza is exactly correct. This word sometimes, like so many time words, you guys, so many time words are modifying verbs. They're telling us information about when something happened or how something happened, right? And if you're getting one of those words, even though it doesn't end in ly, right? If you took Grammar 50 and your teacher said, oh, adverbs end in ly, you don't have enough information. Not all adverbs end in ly. A lot of these time words, right, are adverbs. So for example, if I change this to,
Never. No.
is it still an adverb?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It is. Nishan says yes. Firuza says yes. It is still an adverb. How about this?
The same adverb.
Yep.
ly.
Finally.
Oh, in this case, it'd be she never. I need to change the word order there. My bad. But as long as the idea of the meaning makes sense to you guys, right? But yeah. But sometimes she feels bored. But she never feels bored. But she always feels bored. All of those words are modifying the verb. They're telling us when, how, where something happens. So it's an adverb. And it's a content word. So that's why we're going to go back.
Yeah, it's a content.
I know, but I wanted to make you got to let people not know a little bit. Okay. So does that make sense, you guys? Why sometimes is an adverb? If it does not, that is totally fine. Raise your hand and say, Jeff, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, let's keep going. She.
Pronoun.
We agree.
Pronoun.
Does everyone agree with Firuza? Pronoun?
How you can call auxiliary, no, not auxiliaries, determiners or pronouns.
No, you're right. It's a pronoun. I'm just saying who's still here, whose brain is still working, or if anybody wants to talk besides Feruza. Feruza's like me. I can tell you love grammar, Feruza.
But
Yeah.
it's more confusing, yeah.
This is a pronoun. Feels?
Verb.
Good.
Verb.
Or?
Adjective.
Adjective.
How about this one?
Adverb.
Was that you, Varvara? Did you say adverb?
Adverb, yeah. Because
And again, let's go back. Why is this, thinking about the way we're starting to talk about parts of speech in this book that we're going to use, why do we know this is an adverb?
Because it's describing the when she reads.
Good. Feruz is saying when. Vairo is saying it affects the verb. It describes the verb. Anybody else want to add why? Yeah, it modifies the verb. In this case, Feruza exactly said it tells us when, right? It tells us when. And she, we already got this one.
Pronoun.
Pronoun.
This one?
It's verb.
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 Finally.
What did you say?
Finally.
We got it. And let's go back and make sure so that I can, when I post this to Canvas, we said, right, this is an adverb, so we know that this is?
Content, yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, please, Linda.
Like after a while, can we like say it or change it if it's gonna be, what about if it's gonna be like a while she is reading or she was or something like that? Gonna be the same?
Let's see, if you have examples, this is my favorite thing to do really with you guys in the grammar classes. Let's look at some examples.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna delete this. Okay, so for parts of speech, which again is where we're sort of starting. Linda, your example was while she, what was your example sentence, Linda?
Like as the same one that the last one that we did it, like, like while she is reading.
While she is reading.
Yeah.
But forgive me the sentence because this is a dependent clause right now. This isn't a sentence yet. Can you finish this for me? Let's look at a full sentence.
She feels brave while she.
No, I was talking about the same, the old one, the old sentences that we just did it. Like, what about if we're if we change from while she reads, while she is reading?
She say while is coming reads, is not coming reading.
Yeah, exactly like you did now.
Great. So reading is still going to be the verb.
And
but we have this, what's next?
Auxiliary.
That's it. Right. That'd be the only difference. In that case, you're adding an auxiliary to make the continuous tense. You're adding auxiliary is. That's the helping verb.
Helping verb.
And reading is still a verb, and while is definitely still an adverb. It's still describing the verb, even if the verb tense changes or you add another word with a different part of the speech. That's totally fine.
Professor,
tell me.
Question. You said is it auxiliary? Is it not be verb?
Oh, it's a helping verb.
I don't think it is. No.
It's not.
Because what's the main verb? She, okay, this is another clause. Well, this is a dependent clause here, right? That starts with the subordinator, but she is reading. Let's say that's another subject and verb, right? What's the verb? Is or reading?
Reading.
Reading.
I hope, do you agree, Feruza?
But the professor, is can be the helping verb. It
can be a helping verb, is can be the main verb. We're going to start to talk about transitive and intransitive verbs. We're going to start to talk about action verbs and linking verbs. You're going to see that. And is the most common linking verb by far in the English language. So just for an example here, I'm glad we brought this up. So let's do.
But in here, it must be a verb. I don't know why it become auxiliary.
Reading
it's a little bit confusing, but it's is here is auxiliary. Yeah, if we're reading is a verb.
Yeah, because the short answer, even if this doesn't make sense yet, that's fine. Watch this video or think about it. The real reason is, and I don't mean to say that like in a short to be too short, but remember the main verb is the one that gives the sentence meaning. That's why content and function is important. So the word that has meaning here is definitely reading, right? Reading is the word that tells us what she is doing right now. So because the other rule in English is you can only have one verb in a clause, right? So that means reading is the content word, it's the verb. So is has to be an auxiliary. It has to be the helping verb to give us the present continuous tense. Now someone was asking about the difference between, okay, well, sometimes is, let me just put the sentence and then we'll look at it together.
Yeah, here is an example. The book is mine.
We could even do this.
Oh yeah.
Let's just change the verb. So Sacramento is still the subject of the sentence, right?
Yeah.
What's the main verb?
Is.
So here, is definitely a verb. I'm sorry that you guys have to see me keep changing the size, but I want to make sure you can actually see what I'm writing here. Right? And I'll tell you right now, I agree with Feruza. Very is an adverb, hot is an adjective. This is all still the same, right?
Yeah.
Article, determiner. Again, I'm not really worried about if you call this an article or determiner right now. It doesn't really matter for right now. And that's the now. So here's definitely an example where Sacramento is very hot. We only have one verb. One word that's even looks like a verb in this sentence. Whereas up here we have loves looks like a verb, reading looks like a verb, but isn't a verb, feels and is and reading. All of those look like verbs, but which one's the verb? Where are our auxiliaries, our helping verbs? That's something you really need to be on the lookout for, or to watch for. And I'm really glad that someone asked about this, because in a perfect way, it shows why the idea of content and function words matter, right? Because if you just look at this, how about just some more practice examples? Because if you see two words that look like verbs, and one of them is be, and one of them is the be verb, you need to ask yourself which one is giving the sentence meaning, right? I know no one can see this right now. I'll fix it. Let's just look at be. Let's just look at the words that look like be, right? Am,
Is,
be. So let's do the same thing. In this example, are these the verbs or auxiliaries? And then if they're verbs or auxiliaries, that tells us, are they content or function words? So right now, I am talking to my computer. Is that the verb or the auxiliary?
Auxiliary.
Yes. And what is the main verb?
Talking.
Thank you. And again, it's weird because I'm going to ask, how do you know? Well, how do you know? Because talking is the meaning. Talking is the content word, right? Talking is the content word in the sentence. How about this one? I am tall.
That's verb.
Verb.
Yep. And content function, we know. And now, anybody, not just Feduza, but I bet Ornit probably talked about this. Has anyone talked about linking action verbs and linking verbs, the difference between the two of them? Has anyone heard that? Yes. What is it, Feduza?
Function verb can take ing. It's showing like progressive. You can see it's continuous. Like how I cannot describe.
You might have seen this again. How about this? Did Ornit ever use this word, stative verbs?
It's a linking verbs.
Yes, stative and linking verb mean the same thing. You're gonna read about this in chapter 1. But this is the difference between So she grew. Here, grew is an action, right? It's something that happens in real life. You can see, you know, if you guys have kids or if it's if your child's birthday, they grow. You can see it, the action, right? It happens. But if I say I am tall, that's not really something I'm doing right now, right? I'm not being tall. I'm not doing tall right now. And we do this in English all the time. And this matters because what part of speech is this, tall?
Adjective.
Yes, I agree. Now, here's a question for you. In English, though, I bet you learned the rule, adjectives come before the nouns that they modify, right?
Yes.
So what's going on here? Tall is an adjective. It comes after the noun. What's going on?
It's describe the noun. It's
And
describe the
this-
subject. So that's
yes.
why it comes always with be verb.
And not just
an adverb
and not,
here.
say again, Mariana.
It's not an adverb here.
No, it's not an adverb. Yeah. Oh, you guys are going to learn so much. Okay, you're going to really enjoy chapter 1. There's a lot. No, there really is a lot of good stuff in there, and it matters because this is why, like Feruza was asking, why do things change? The reason that I use this textbook is because I've seen so many grammar textbooks that will teach students adjectives go before the noun, adjectives go before the noun. Well, in English, if I say I feel happy, I am the noun, happy is the adjective, and it comes after the verb. What is going on, right? She is scared. Okay, scared is the adjective. It modifies she. It comes after the verb. What is going on? Well, what happens in English is, I like this, linking verb or stative verb. When we use linking verbs, not almost always, but very often, adjectives that describe the subject come after these linking verbs. So it's not just function and content. That's important, right? It's not just auxiliary or verb. That's also important. But when you understand function and content, linking and action verbs, then you can feel more confident to know where to put your adjective. Or if you do have an adverb, Mariana, where to put your adverb. Because all of these things are connected. And that's why I really think you have to learn this stuff in context instead of just, oh, here's one chapter all about nouns. It's like, well, okay, but you learn the rule and then you go out in Sacramento and you hear someone talking and you're like, they just used a different rule or they didn't follow that rule, right? Because how you use the words changes how you put them together. So this is just an example. We'll talk much more next time about different types of verbs. But for right now, today we're starting really big picture. And the big picture is don't stress about linking and action verbs today because we're going to do that next week. What I do want you to think about, don't stress about though, is can you see the difference between an auxiliary and a verb? That is important, right? If I say I can come, I want you to understand can is the auxiliary, right? It's grammar. It's a function word. Come is the verb. It has meaning. It gives meaning to the sentence. It's a content word. That's all we're starting with. Okay, that's all we're starting with. Once you get that, then we can go to all these different types and styles of verbs and why it's important So in this one, I put this example here because action verb. And this here, I am, is an example of a stative or linking verb. I'm going to call them linking. But again, if you took another class or if you ever read a British English textbook, you might have seen. And you know, when I'll do it next time. If you are a real grammar nerd like I am and you really love grammar, when we finish right now, just Google English stative verbs. You'll see a whole list of verbs. Feel, seem, think. It depends, right? It depends. It depends. Feruza's got the list in her brain already. Yeah. Okay. So does this make sense? Thinking about parts of speech in their context, looking at function and content words, and that if you're trying to decide what type of word is happening in this sentence, what part of speech, then you need to see the full sentence. You need to see things in context. Does this make sense? because I'll show you. So we've got just about 8 minutes left. What I want to show you before we go is what's coming up. So here's my suggestion for you guys. So I will post these slides into Canvas right now. Well, as soon as we finish. And once, oops. Now, once, you know, the Zoom recording, usually I found out last week, it takes about 2 or 3 hours to be ready inside of the Zoom website so that I can put it onto Canvas for you guys. Excuse me. Once Zoom is ready, once the Zoom recording is ready, I will put it in Canvas, and then when it's there, I will open up these assignments for you. I don't want to open them until everyone can at least watch the Zoom recording. But when they're there, what I'm asking for you to do is try. My suggestion, since there's no due date, is before we meet next week, is to do lessons 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, if that's too much and life is stressful, just do 6 and 7, okay? Just do 6 and 7. If you can, I think we'll go fast, let's see. But if you can, try to do 8 and 9 too, because the Language Power Tutorial 1 is what we're gonna start with. And I recorded myself, let me show you, I'll just show you instead of talking too much. All right, so here is what I have for you. So just for example, I'm gonna make sure I share my audio. I see someone posted in the chat. I wanna make sure I check and see what's going on. Here we go. Okay, so if this link in Canvas will take you to YouTube, to my YouTube channel. And here is the first video. Again, it's 29 minutes long. What I do in the video is I go through the first part of tutorial 1 with you. I read it out loud. I explain the ideas that are in the, let's see if we can hear pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions, and auxiliaries. So exciting. Okay, so it's me, and I'm trying to, my plan, my idea, my sort of dream is that you feel like I'm there reading the book with you when you go through the book. I try and explain some of the ideas and give you examples from the textbook. And then I also have that for part 1. That's for the first part of it, plus the information about content words. And then part 2 is shorter. It's only 20 minutes. And that's where I read, I think that starts on page 14, where I talk about the function words. Okay. Now, when you look in Canvas.
You can post the pages for books or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tutorial 1, Nishan.
Because it's more easy.
Well, I mean, it's just tutorial 1. So it starts on page 3 and goes until tutorial 2.
Okay, when I go tutorial 2, how I find for pages?
Well, you'll see it. This is what I'm trying to say too, is you'll see, because when you watch the video, you see the page that I'm on, right? You see how this is the PDF. This is our book, right? When you open your book, it looks like this. So you'll see what page I'm on when I'm reading it to you. So you'll see me, my face, reading the text. Then you'll see the page that I'm on highlighting.
Sorry, can you show me, please?
This is it. I'm showing you right now, right? This is the video. So when you start the video, you see me and I'm reading and I say, okay, we're starting on page 14. Or if I'm doing the first one, I'll say, okay, I'm gonna start our reading and we're starting here. Let's see whether it gets clear. Oh, my internet's getting slow, you guys. While it's thinking, let me pull this up. So what you'll see here in tutorial 1, part 1. So in the link, I'll post read tutorial 1 in Language Power textbook. Then part 2 is the link to the video that I'm showing you here so that you can listen to me sort of walk you through and talk about some of the ideas in the textbook. And then there will be an activity for you to practice, for you to practice some of the ideas, okay? So that's what these lessons are, 6, 7, 8, and 9. They are all about Language Power tutorial 1, which starts on page 3, like you can see down here in the YouTube video, and finishes on page 22. So tutorial 1 starts on page 3.
No, my question is like where I find in Canvas like
Oh,
modules
you
like
can't, remember, you can't see this until you've completed unit 1. Remember, that's another part of how the class goes. So you can't even
I
look.
already finished.
Oh, okay. Then that's what I was trying to say. Then if you're done with unit 1, then I will open these up for you to do once I post the video from today on Canvas, which is usually about 2 or 3 hours after we finish today, because I want, for the people who could not come or did not come, I want to make sure they can see the video before they look at the assignments.
Okay. Professor?
Yes.
I have a question about homework, where I can do our homework, because I still don't have any book. I ordered book on Amazon, but I still didn't receive it.
Yeah.
That's my question. Like same.
That's what I'm saying. For this first one, you don't. So then, instead of reading along in your book, just watch the video, because this see this where.
Which video? This one, today one?
Yeah, this one. So again, this is not posted in Canvas yet. When you click on lesson 6, it's not open for you yet. When it is open, there will be a link, just like in live support, that takes you to this video, my YouTube page that's ready, right? And let me just play.
All right. Hi, everybody. Professor Jeff here. We are going to get started with the first tutorial or chapter in our book, Language Power. Remember, Language Power was written by Professor Dana Ferris. So when I talk about this chapter, when we look at some of the things that are in here, you're going to hear me say, oh, Professor Ferris says, Professor Ferris wrote. When I say Professor Ferris or Dr. Ferris.
Right, so here I'm introducing the book, and then I'm just gonna mute. Oh, pobrecito. I'm just gonna mute you. When I go through this, you'll see I'm reading the textbook. This is the book, and I'll pause it here. And you'll see
this semester. But if you look at this page here on page 5, there's this chart, and I do want you to pause this part of speech. Well, okay, probably a verb, but what's it doing in the sentence, right? You need to see the context to know the part of speech. So we'll continue. It is usually impossible to take a word in isolation and label it as a noun or a verb, for example, because many words could fall into either category.
Right. So you guys see what I'm doing there, right? That I'm just reading the book out loud for you guys. So you don't need, right now, you don't need the book. You can just watch the video and you're reading the book with me, right? Now, later in the semester, maybe I'll just do audio recording so that you can hear me and you can read the book, your paper copy of the book. But even if you don't have the paper book, this is it. Does that make sense?
Isn't there anything for doing, Professor?
Say one more time, Mahbuba.
Isn't there anything for doing, like something for filling some things and
for points. Oh yeah. So first you watch the video. Basically, you do the reading, and then there will be a graded activity for you to do after you watch the video. Yes.
Professor, where is this video?
It's not in there yet. It's not in there yet, because, like I said,
It's not here. I post later.
It will be in modules and then unit 2. So if you didn't do, I'm not talking to you, Feduza, but anybody, if you didn't do lesson 2, 3, 4, or 5, you can't see these until you finish lesson 5. When you finish lesson 5, in about 3 or 4 hours, whenever the Zoom is ready, right? Whenever I post the Zoom into Canvas, then I will publish everything and it will be ready for you. But because some people can't come to the Zoom, I don't want them to try to do this lesson 6, until they can watch this video we're recording right now. That's why it's not in there yet.
Like you said, this video is 2 lessons, right? 6 and 7 related.
Yeah, tutorial 1, I made 2 videos, one for part 1, one for part 2. Part 1 has 2 lessons. Part 2 has 2 lessons. Yep.
Professor, one more question.
Yes,
how about for lesson 4 and 5? Is there any video or any lesson?
No, lesson 4 and 5 are just questions about the syllabus. All you need to do to answer those questions is just look at the syllabus.
Yes.
Yes, they're showing appendix A or B or C because I did already.
It's pretty easy. I mean,
Yes.
it's not supposed to be hard. It's just supposed to make sure you, oh, Maria. It's just supposed to be, you can,
Oh, Professor, in the lesson 5, you gave some confusing questions.
Just like we need to give our opinion, right?
yes, exactly. I don't know about confusing, but yeah, you had to think for question for number 5.
Yeah.
Number 4, you just said, oh, okay, 3:30. Okay, yeah, okay, good. 100%. Great, easy. Okay. Yeah, more critical thinking for lesson 5. I agree. What else? Other questions?
And Professor, I have a book, but it's a digital form or it's electronic.
Yeah.
And I have a access code, but I don't understand how to use it. It's my first time to use an online book.
Stay with me right now. I can stay until about 5:15. Hang out at the end and then
I
maybe.
know, like, because it's my math class is like a same, they give access code and I put a online for, when they asking access code, we can put a same code for.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might change from book to book. Hang out with me and we can talk about it one-on-one. I want to make sure if other people have questions about the class, I answer that. But if you can stay for a few more minutes, Feruza, I can help you with it.
Thank you.
That's all I got for today. We're 4 minutes over. So that's it. If you go. If you still have a question though, and you want to hang out, I'm here.
Thank you, Professor, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor. Have a nice day.
You too. It was so good to see you guys.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you so much. Mariana, was that the birthday boy? Happy birthday.
Yes.
Is he? How old? 3? 2 or 3? She's getting choppy. It might be my internet too.
2.
2. Okay, cool. So I know a few other people still here. Banas, Amina, Shakila, Mariana, Valentina, questions. Can I help you guys with anything specific?
No, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Just I want to say bye. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Banas. Thank you, Shakila. You guys are the best.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice evening.
I want.
I'm ready. Of course you do. Let's go.
It's not about the class. It's about the bookstore. I have 2 phone number, but none of them are answering me. Do I have any other phone number, or you can help me?
Let me. I don't know. You are not the first. I have another.
I ordered my book on August 18,
Yikes.
but I received 2 of them. Another one is not Power of the Language. But today I saw the status was declined. I don't know why.
What?
Yeah.
Amina tried to go to college bookstore because I went last week, and that's about how I get my.
But we have to make an appointment, you know.
No, you can go without appointment. I went to without appointment. They're open,
really?
and there is no line.
Oh.
I honestly, I was on campus today. I asked to get into my office, so I did go, and there are some people there. If you go, you park. You need to. You know where to park. You have to turn into the stadium park. You know, yeah, you know. Here's one number. It's probably the one you have. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I have this one.
Okay, it's not very helpful. Hold on. Bookstores closed. Stores will open their hours. Maybe you're right. To just go in person if you can.
I can, excuse me, teacher, I
Yes.
cannot open Unit 2 models.
No, it's not open yet. It will be open when I post the Zoom. It's not ready yet because I need to make sure that this Zoom is on the site before I open it for everybody.
Okay,
Soon,
thank you.
soon. I'm going to send you one thing here. Amina, thank you, Barbara. Look in the chat. Anyone who needs book help, this is what they sent all the professors. So this is the information they gave us. I know a lot of professors are not happy with the bookstore right now, so you're not alone. I mean, you are not alone. But this might be helpful to have at least something. Let me see if there's,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah, this was my question. Oh yeah, about the Freshta Aqil, I talked with her. I was not wrong.
What happened?
Yeah, she just dropped last night the class, and she confused me about the dream of the vision.
Was she in my 350 class? What was going on?
I don't know. Maybe I just text her. Where are you? She said I dropped the class last night because it was.
Why? Why did she drop the class?
She said it's hard for me.
The level's too high.
The level was hard for me. Also, we didn't have that much time to work.
Hmm.
Maybe she has more class.
Oh, it's fine. Whatever. It's all good. Okay. I'll keep looking too. I mean, if I'll ask my colleague. Her name's Jane. Jane was very upset about the bookstore. I'll ask her if she has more information. I will. I can send it to you in Canvas. I'll send you an email too.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too.
Guys. Bye.
Mariana, question? Oh, just hanging out. Rangtar, are you there? Rangatar? Okay, it's you and me, Firuza. I'm going to stop recording.